Alright, it's time to see what makes this blaster tick. Magazine out. As per usual, all the screws should be on one side. I will let you guys know if there are multiple different sizes of screw. Some of these do not want to come out nicely. Like they're unscrewing fine, just they're not gravity dropping out of the shell. So far they are all the same size, they're just kind of small compared to what you usually see in a Nerf blaster. It's kind of funny too, they're using pointed screws. That's also a little different. That might mean what they screw into isn't the best. Which could mean that if you take these screws in and out repeatedly, it might deteriorate the threads on the plastic. I might just not take these screws all the way out. They all appear to be the same size, and they don't like to be cooperative with just falling out of the shell. Find out if I missed anything. Looks like it should just split. Yep, there's the jam door. Okay. This is the battery that comes with the blaster. Serrated flywheels. However, they've got a seam going down the middle that can affect the accuracy. The button that holds in the extending stock. You can just set this aside. I actually don't plan on using that stock because it's not actually long enough for any sort of purpose. And in my review of it, this is what I was mentioning too. The darts get pushed into the flywheels, and normally, more often than not, you'll have a little tube here that goes to your nozzle. So this is like a knockoff end strike attachment, works with Nerf stuff for the most part. But since this doesn't have a tube, if a dart comes out on a particularly bad angle, it's gonna hit the lip, not go out of the blaster, and the next one's gonna hit that dart, and it's just gonna create a train wreck. So I would recommend, if you're going to use this or mod this, to either just remove this, open this up so it's just got a bigger opening, or maybe steal some tube from an old blaster, cut it to the right size, and just kind of set it in here. You might need to put something down here to kind of hold it in place, but where there's a will, there's a way. It looks like the flywheel cage is completely removable. That is cool. I'd be interested to see how much different it is from a strife cage. Here is our full auto pusher. Yeah, it looks like it would be pretty easy to convert this to take some Talon magazines. It looks like basically you would just need to adapt this to fit. It's just pretty wide right now. I might look into that. I'm assuming somebody will make a kit, or like I said, there's a will, there's a way. You can always steal something from something else, or just kind of rig it up. I might make a video on that in the future. I think this would be much better if it used Talons. Interesting. So that switch on this other side, this guy, that goes in right here, and then your circuit's mostly hidden underneath. So you got your positive and your negative like usual. It's all going back here. It looks like it has a setup to make it so the pusher won't remain out. This guy here is a switch just like you would have with a rev trigger. Like you'll see one of those behind here, or the actual trigger on a full auto blaster like this guy here. So this one, as you can see, it's pushed in right now. That's just to make the blaster kind of know if the pusher is out or not. So when the pusher's out, this will be open. And then when it's closed, it's in. So it'll always stay in. You see a similar thing on Workers full auto kits for the Strife. This looks pretty straightforward. I like how they have the cables managed. It's pretty hidden in here. It would be easy to switch this over to use an XT60. If you did that, you would get a power boost. I don't know what these motors will handle, but the wire looks like it should likely be able to handle 2S. It's using mechanical switches as well, so I would assume 2S would run fine on this. So if you got this running 2S, did a motor swap, and probably swapped the flywheels too, having a seam going down the center of a flywheel is not a good design decision. that's gonna affect the way that they travel. So here, I'll show you. Yeah, I think this would work pretty good if you upgraded the motors and flywheels and adapted this to talons. You can keep using this if you want to, but as I mentioned in my review video, typically Nerf darts just don't like this kind of setup. Having a magazine where the rounds are stacked like this isn't meant for squishy darts, so it can tend to not work the best. I would, for the sake of just being able to use any magazine I want and easily swap out mags, likely adapt this to Talon. So I might make a video on that in the future because I think that'd be pretty cool, having a little pistol like this. I might leave this locking mechanism out since I don't plan on using it. I might make the shell a little smaller even, just cut this part off completely. We will see. Goodbye.